Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take the sources you send us, dive in, and pull out the key takeaways for you, fast.
Exactly. And today we're tackling a really interesting one. It's based on document sense title 15.txt.
Right, and it covers the neuroscience and, well, the medical side of gratitude. Sounds simple, but there's real science here.
There absolutely is. We're talking hard data,
Yeah.
including studies from the Mayo Clinic, looking at how gratitude, genuinely affects your mind and your body.
Okay, let's jump right in then. Our mission today, understand the impact of gratitude and maybe find some practical ways to, well, cultivate it. So, what's the big picture? What does the science say about gratitude?
The main takeaway, it's powerful, seriously. Both neuroscience and medicine have looked into this, and the findings are pretty compelling. Gratitude has real, measurable health benefits.
Okay, like what?
Well, the Mayo Clinic research highlighted in our source is a great place to start. They found clear impacts on three key bodily systems.
Three systems.
First, your cardiovascular system. Practicing gratitude is linked to, believe it or not, lower blood pressure. It seems to actually protect the heart.
Wow, lower blood pressure, just from being thankful. That's incredible.
It really is. Seems like a direct line from your mindset to your heart health. Second, your immune system.
Immunity. Okay.
Gratitude appears to give it a boost, making you more resilient.
Okay. Heart, immunity. What's the third?
The endocrine system. Gratitude helps keep it balanced, regulated.
Endocrine. So
Mhm.
hormones and things like that.
Exactly. And the source even gives specific examples. It mentions seeing improvements in conditions like hypertension, high blood pressure, and even diabetes for people who practice gratitude compared to those who don't.
That's significant.
Yeah.
So how? How does feeling grateful actually do all that biologically? That's the neuroscience bit, right?
That's the neuroscience bit, yeah. Our source breaks it down by looking at the two sides of your autonomic nervous system. You've got the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. Think of the sympathetic system as like your body's complaint mode.
Mhm.
It gets activated when you're focused on what's wrong, what you lack, complaining, protesting.
Right. And that ties into those negative emotions we know aren't great for us. Anger, fear, anxiety, feeling hopeless or powerless.
Precisely. And physiologically, that activation jacks up your blood pressure, it can hinder your immune function, and it might even make conditions like diabetes worse. It's basically putting your body on high alert constantly.
Like a chronic stress response. Fight or flight, but stuck on.
You got it. It's like the body's alarm system just keeps ringing.
Okay, so if that's the complaint mode, what's the flip side? The gratitude mode. How does thankfulness switch things up in the nervous system?
That would be the parasympathetic nervous system. This is more your rest and digest system. And it gets activated when you consciously acknowledge what you do have, when you appreciate things.
And the effects are the opposite.
Pretty much the opposite of the sympathetic system, yeah. Instead of revving things up, it calms things down.
So less stress, more calm.
Exactly. The parasympathetic system regulates your heart via the vagus nerve. This leads to a calmer, steadier heart rate.
Okay.
It also helps your body manage energy better. The source mentions potential improvements in insulin resistance for diabetics.
Interesting.
And crucially, it strengthens the immune system. Remember, we said gratitude boosts immunity. This seems to be the mechanism.
Right.
Our source even notes that immune activity is highest at night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that makes sense because the parasympathetic system is dominant when we sleep. It's
Yeah.
why doctors tell you to get more rest when you're sick.
That connection between sleep, the parasympathetic system, gratitude, immunity, it really paints a picture of how interconnected it all is.
It absolutely does. The nervous system, the central neuroaxis pathway, influencing the cardiovascular system, the endocrine system, it's all linked.
It really shows how our mental state, our emotional state, can physically shape our health.
It's a very clear illustration, yeah.
This actually reminds me of something I do with my partner every night. We share 3 things we're grateful for from the day.
That's a great practice.
Yeah. And what struck me reading the source material is that we often include things that were, well, challenging.
Yeah.
Not just the easy, happy stuff, things we learned from, maybe.
That's a fantastic point, and it leads right into something really important
No.
the source addresses. It kind of anticipates the big question, right?
But it is.
Okay, this sounds nice, but how can I possibly feel grateful if my life is genuinely difficult right now, if things are miserable?
Yeah, that's a very real objection. If you're dealing with serious hardship, poverty, illness, finding gratitude can feel
Well,
Almost insulting sometimes.
it can feel impossible. But the source brings in an expert perspective here, someone who worked with people in extremely tough situations, severe poverty, after natural disasters, survivors of abuse, people with really serious illnesses.
Yeah.
And the finding was remarkable. Even in those incredibly difficult circumstances, people could still find things to be grateful for.
Wow. So it's not about pretending the bad stuff isn't happening.
Not at all. It's more about perhaps consciously shifting your focus, even for a moment, to find something positive, however small. The source puts it quite directly. A lack of gratitude often stems from a lack of seeking things to be grateful for.
So the capacity is there, but you have to look.
That seems to be the message. It suggests that even someone who feels they've lost almost everything can, if they look, find something to appreciate.
It's like trying to find a single star in a very dark sky. It takes effort, but it might be there.
That's a good way to put it. And there's this parable in the source material that really drives this home about a wise mystic.
Oh, yeah. Tell me.
So this mystic, very wise, thought he'd achieved enlightenment all on his own. An angel offers him entry to paradise. He goes, but gets sent back after just one day.
Only one day.
Hmm.
Why? Did he complain about paradise?
He did complain, but the angel explained the real reason he was sent back. It wasn't paradise itself. It was his complete lack of gratitude for the absolute basics of his existence.
Like what?
Like the air he breathed, the food he ate, the ground he rested on. Simple things. He felt his wisdom was his own achievement, so he didn't feel any need to be thankful for these fundamental things everyone receives.
Wow. The things we totally take for granted.
Exactly. The angel basically said, until you can appreciate these things, the foundations, you're not ready for paradise. The moral being gratitude, especially for the essentials, is, well, essential.
So it circles back to that idea you have to look for things to appreciate. And once you start looking,
You start finding more than you expected. It opens your eyes. Even small things count. It's not necessarily about big, grand gestures of thankfulness.
more of a mindset, an undercurrent of appreciation.
That seems to be it. The source suggests it's about living with a certain level of appreciation day to day.
Okay. So let's wrap up this deep dive into gratitude through the lens of neuroscience and medicine. What are the core takeaways?
I think the big ones are gratitude isn't just a feeling. It has tangible, positive effects on your heart, your immune system, your hormonal balance.
Right, primarily through its influence on the nervous system, calming the stress response, activating the rest and digest response.
Exactly. And maybe the most powerful point, even when life is incredibly tough, the act of seeking and finding something to be grateful for is possible, and it matters.
It's not about ignoring the difficulties, but finding glimmers of light.
Precisely. Which leads us to a final thought for you, the listener.
Go on.
Think about those small, everyday things in your life, the ones you barely notice, maybe take for granted. What might happen if you consciously pause to appreciate them, just for a moment?
And beyond the obvious, what other, maybe hidden sources of gratitude might be there in your own experiences? Even, perhaps especially, in the challenging ones. Something to think about.